empty hearts and neon lights. The playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone. Just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started. Get me out of now. To where we started. Get me out of now. To where we started. La 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 la. Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights. Turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself.
It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. He went to bed and bumped his head, couldn't get up in the morning. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. He went to bed and bumped his head, couldn't get up in the morning.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro
she
wrestling.
gone?
Yeah, she's gone.
Are you sure?
She's gone.
What the hell was that? Jared, is she gone?
Dude, Jared, we had a break-in during the intro. What was that all about, man?
I don't think that was planned.
It wasn't Jenny. You must have made her mad last week, buddy.
I was polite.
Not by that
Jenny
video.
wasn't happy.
Is that a song you guys played when you were kids? Like, did you play that song? No? All right, well.
Did I play that song when we
Yeah.
were kids?
Yeah.
What's my last name? Myers?
It's
Like Michael? I mean, what are we...
Ooh, man, it's creepy.
So that's supposed to be my sister, huh?
Look like
So
it.
let me ask you a question, though. If that's my sister and you see what she's capable of, what do you think the male version's capable
We
of?
already know what the male curve is.
I'll see you soon, Jenny.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'll see you soon.
Thoughts on Terry Funk passing away?
Thoughts
And
on Terry
obviously
Funk.
We
We
heard,
go from that to Terry Funk.
We heard
Oh, sure.
also the passing away of Bray Wyatt at age 36. So shocking news. You want to weigh in real quick?
Oh, boy. Terry Funk, you know, the two deaths couldn't be more jarringly different, obviously, as far as circumstances. Terry Funk lived a full life, he, you know, passing away at 79. You know, one of the all-time greats, and like you said on This Week in Wrestling, which you guys can catch, we go back to the beginning with Terry. I do remember, you know, when he was champion, it was like right before I started to really get into the Bruno Sammartino, and I was aware of Superstar Graham, but I think it was right before that Terry had a pretty darn impressive reign as world champion. What did this guy not do? You could talk about all his movies, of course.
Right.
You would know those right off the cuff much better than me. But, you know, to me, Terry Funk was the ultimate brawler. His ECW work, he just completely gave ECW such a shot in both arms. Forget about one arm. I loved his program when he was in WWF even back in the day, you know, when he was fighting for the world title. Terry Funk was just perfect. Didn't matter what he did. Great guy. Obviously, I got to meet him with you, and he was just a wonderful, wonderful guy. He was so sweet. A simple, you know, autograph session turned into like maybe a 10-minute talk about music. And he was just such a nice guy. And you could see that he was such a nice guy. And it blew my mind. How can a guy who's so nasty in the ring be such a nice guy? Huggable, like teddy bear level.
Yeah.
Not like Jenny Farrow. It makes you want to run.
I'm a little freaked out right now.
I'm very,
to be
very
honest with you.
disturbed. I don't understand this. When did my sister get so angry? This is horrible.
Little roll call.
Jared, do we have wait a second. Do we have security in this building? By
What do
any
you
chance?
think?
The answer is
You
no.
don't even have air conditioning. You got security.
I don't even have a TV. I should at least, before I'm butchered by my sister, can I at least have, you know something? I'm not going to be butchered, damn it. I'm not going to allow this. Jared?
I heard Jenny Farrow took the toilet paper.
Greg Valentine must be really mad.
Did Sims get it back from her?
I got the toilet paper.
RJ Hudson in the house, the first lady in the house.
What up?
Phil, how are you?
Phil, help me, Phil. Help
Benny
me.
Scala of the great Dan and Benny show.
Benny, help
Doing
me.
well, charts every week.
Of course
Dan and
he
Benny,
does.
fantastic.
Of course they do.
Got some really great guests.
Yes.
Yes. Matthew Holland. Matthew, how are you?
Wait a minute. Does Matthew know anything about Jenny Farrow? Because Matthew comes from the dark side, too.
Dude, I got to tell you.
Friends
with Matthew
don't get too
Holland
crazy
on,
with
Friends
what
Matthew
you come
Holland
up with.
on Facebook.
What?
Yeah,
Who is?
I am.
Yeah, and? What? So what does that mean? You've turned to the dark side, too?
He makes that Jenny Farrow video seem normal.
You think this show's good for my health?
I shared it on our page.
I don't think this show's
He was
good for my health
he was
anymore.
watching-
Jared!
He was
Hey,
He
Jared!
was watching
What?
last week's show.
Yeah.
And he was filming it, and I shared it. And all you hear in the back is... I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
That's crazy shit.
I can see it's clearly affecting you, too, because I think you've gone a little off the deep end. But
Scott,
that's all right.
how are you? Scott
You
out,
are
Jason
whacked.
Morning in house, Mitch Seinfeld.
Hi.
The
Hi,
greatest
hi.
pitch man of all time.
Yes.
Loose in the house. Who else? I said
Where's
RJ.
Bruce? No Bruce?
Bruce is here. ESO is here.
Bruce. What up?
ESO is here. He hasn't given us a show in a couple of weeks.
What
Davio, how are you? JB2,
Davio.
how are you,
What
buddy?
up? What up?
Steve Goldberg.
Oh.
Death and honor, sir. Death and honor. All right, man. So, do you mind? Do you want to talk a little Florida?
Little Florida? Okay.
Oh, Benny Scala, Jenny Farrow. Welcome. Jenny in the house. Jenny watching right
Jenny
now.
Farrow's watching. What are you,
Says right-
sharpening your knives, you psycho? What are you doing over there?
Dude, don't talk to your sister that way.
What?
man.
Did
is
you
your
see
issue?
that warm fuzzy in your tum-tum video she made? I should be nice.
So real quick,
I should be guarded.
You in Florida?
One guard
would
here,
you-
one
would
guard
you like
there.
you just flew in? You did
I
actually
did.
fly
I
in?
literally just got here.
Do you want to talk about Florida or you rather not?
Florida, I'd rather not. Well, I'd rather not, Michael.
Oh, I'm just asking.
No,
Just
I had
asking.
I had an amazing time with an amazing lady, and I got to meet an amazing family.
Can you share with the people who the amazing lady is, or you'd rather not?
Well, it's Karen McDaniel.
Well, they know, but
They do?
listen, I
do
don't
they
wanna,
know?
I don't want to
okay.
feel like I'm poking and prodding.
No, you're not. No, you're not poking and prodding. No, it was Karen McDaniel, and I got to meet her lovely family and friends, and I ate foods I've never eaten before. I'm sure you would find that humorous.
I think it's awesome.
I mean, I ate oysters.
I saw many things.
You did?
I did. I saw
Oh, okay.
I saw you driving a boat.
Yeah,
which
well,
was
thank
amazing.
God
I saw
Zachary
you
Z-Man was
I
next
saw
to
you
me.
feeding fish.
I did feed fish.
I do want to ask you a question. We're putting
Sure.
a picture up
By
right
all-
now.
what?
And there was a.
Oh, no, not this.
There was a couple that thought that you were
That was,
Osborne.
yes, they
But
did.
and listen, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm thinking, I
was
don't know if that's a
insulted.
good thing.
I was
That's
insulted.
kind of insulting.
I was
Oh, thank
insulted.
you. I was
completely
it wasn't like
insulted.
30.
Now, hold
like
on.
Ozzy at 30 years old.
Okay, in my defense, when they swam, this is horrible. In my defense, when they swam up, and they were really nice.
Right,
I think
right,
they
right.
were from Alabama, I think.
Yeah.
But she said, you look like Ozzy Osbourne. And I looked at her and I said, I hope you're talking about 1970.
Thank God you said that.
I did say that. And then the other one was like, well, there's one thing for sure. That's not Sharon he's with.
Well, Karen
Boy,
wrote
did
me.
I agree with
Karen
that.
wrote me and said, hey, Pharaoh, they thought he was Ozzy Osbourne.
Tiff was-
And all I could think to myself
That's
is,
not good.
that's not really that good, Karen. I wouldn't be so happy about that.
Well, thank you for the compliment. And then I drown. I
I'm like, I felt like
my
saying,
teeth
Karen,
pop out
have
and
you
float
seen
along the
Ozzy
waves?
Osbourne? The guy looks like he's barely
Yeah,
alive.
yeah. I was immediately thought to myself, please be referring to Black Sabbath.
But
days.
I am
yeah,
electrified
electrified.
by
Very good.
the experience that I saw.
Yes.
I am very happy for the both
Listen,
of you.
I feel like I just had the best 6 days of my life.
I just think I think it's amazing. I think it's
Thank you.
amazing. I'm very happy for both of you.
She's the
and,
best by far.
I'm hoping for rich and gloriful roads, man, for
Thank you.
and Miss McDaniel.
Thank you.
Two very good people.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Real quick, we got a guest in, but I want to read something. This was
Okay.
sent to me by the Sean Oliver and Todd Gordon. Todd Gordon brings his ECW to the Museum of the Moving Image. This is for
Okay.
people in New York or Jersey, guys. So listen up. Extreme Championship Wrestling's legacy fits comfortable into a counterculture and disreputable categories as far as the art world is concerned. On Saturday, August 26th, you will see a celebration of that in New York. ECW founder Todd Gordon and his co-author Sean Oliver of Click This, the Kevin Nash podcast, will be signing copies of their new book, Todd is God,
Nice.
which is right here. We had Todd, written by Sean Oliver. And guess what? The foreword was written by the late, great Mr. Terry Funk. So, anyway,
Awesome.
there'll be a signing of the Todd and God book by Mr. Todd Gordon and Mr. Sean Oliver, and then they will be doing a screening of Beyond the Mat as part of the Museum of the Moving Images Disreputable Cinema series. The museum gift shop has added Todd's memoir to their bookshelf and in their
Counterculture.
counterculture TV section.
Very interesting.
So
What do you think about that?
I think it's
Would
fantastic.
you have ever thought that decades later ECW would be presented as art?
I think it's fantastic.
How about that?
Tickets are available at the Museum of Modern Image website at movingimage.us/event/beyond. Get it? Event, probably Beyond the Mat. Oh, /Beyond the Mat. Duh. The museum is located at 3601 35th Avenue in Queens, New York. And again, that is on the, get the date right, Monty.
Oh, where is it?
Where are
I'll go back.
you? Hello,
Almost
McFly.
there.
Can you read your script? You could have answered me already.
I could have. I don't see it.
The 27th.
Hey,
There you go.
there it is.
Upcoming shows.
I don't have it.
September 15th, Manny Fernandez in
Yes.
studio. And then that Sunday, the return, Barry's back, Barry Windham. That's on September 29th.
Hopefully so.
Hopefully so, yes. Where
Barry?
we'll hopefully have you and your partner, Bart Griggs, will be playing music.
That rap
is crap.
well, you know that it's crap.
PN News will be in studio straight from Europe on September 29th, along with Duke the Dumpster Drosy. And I
nice.
believe also we'll have a couple more people. And
All
November
right.
12th, Paul London is in studio. And let's not forget that we will probably have Ken Shamrock also joining us. I'd like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte The Pharaoh and Jimmy Farrell, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. Find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page. Hear us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and Reverb Nation. And if you go to the Wisteria Hall YouTube page, you hit that.
Like and subscribe.
Please go to the world's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Why is that? 'Cause Jim Beam said so.
And what do?
You like, subscribe, and hit that membership, baby.
Also,
Come
go
on now.
onto our Facebook Live Monte the Pharaoh page. By the way, we have a video up there that has now
what
gone
is
past 240,000
What is
views.
going on, brother?
How do you like that?
I did see that today.
Not too bad,
That's
brother.
Not
too
bad at all.
Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, or wherever you can find audio music. Also, catch us on the Monte the Pharaoh Twitch TV page.
Right.
Also, if you're lucky enough to live in New York, you can catch us on channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. and Saturday at 11:30 a.m. and channel 20 at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays, where over 150,000 people see us weekly, where you'll see our guests in the reduced version.
You still doing that after
am.
all? Yeah,
I am.
fine. Reduced. Have it your way.
And you'll get to see it. And, we've just signed a new contract with cable TV, so that will be very, very exciting. And if that's not enough, please, there's a free app out there. It's called Intuitive. Intuitive is like the next Netflix. It's got movies. It's got documentaries. It's got comedy shows. It's got health and fitness. And what does it have the most of?
It's got the most of us.
That's it, baby.
That's it.
How do you get there, Jimmy?
How do you spell it, or how do you get
How do you get there? How do you spell it?
Well, you got to spell it the right way. That is INTUITIVE. Intuitive. Get into it.
We'll be right back with the world-renowned psychic medium, Gary McKinstry.
This is slightly unsettling coming off Jenny Farrell, but hold on to your spirits, folks. We'll be right back.
Sir?
Ah.
Manscaped?
Uh-huh.
Have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped, what are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So Manscaped is a
You-
must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to
Oh,
go
I
do the
know
deed
where-
on a woman,
I know where
would you
he's
rather
going.
have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing
Well,
stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start. Where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to
Wow.
wander into that.
That's
thought
very
of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a
Wow.
smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that landing?
I don't want, I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, look
but-
what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it! I found
have
it!
you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
Absolutely.
You're like, whoa.
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
like
46,
it
of
pops
course.
out?
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's a
through.
trooper. He's a trooper. Gotta give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Yeah, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
but
only
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break, and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. You okay?
I'm jolted. I'm still scared. All I hear in my head is, "It's raining. It's pouring. The old man is snoring. Pharaoh went to bed. I chopped off his head." This is freaking me out. I don't like it at all.
Gary!
Oh, you made him
McKinstry,
listen to that?
welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Poor Gary, I apologize
you're
in
welcome.
advance. I apologize in advance for the weirdness. How are you, sir?
It's raining.
Oh, no.
It's pouring.
No, he's going to do it. Stop it. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight, Gary. This is awful.
I couldn't help it. By the way, it looks like you have a lovely sister.
Great. That's great. And you hang out with the other side, so I know that I'm in trouble. This is bad. This is bad.
Look, she's not going to be haunting me, so I'm okay.
Of course not. You're on to her. I can't. This is unbelievable. All right. What do we got?
Gary, first of all,
What do you got?
thank you for joining our show. It's an honor to have you on.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm honored to be on. You guys are awesome. I've been watching the show, and I even have some wrestling friends and fans, and some other not just psychic stuff to talk about. So it should be an interesting evening.
It should be. And I want to give a shout out to your wonderful wife. What a wonderful lady.
Thank you.
In the short conversations I had with her, she was fantastic, Jimmy.
Awesome. Excellent.
Made me feel comfortable.
Right.
It was great.
Beautiful.
All right, Gary.
Well,
Go ahead.
for anybody that doesn't know, tonight's a little different. I am a professional psychic medium. I pretty much work throughout the Northeast, been all over the place. I did a TV show called Dead Famous. I was the American ghost expert. Probably been on, I would say, 50 different radio stations over the years. I've been on one station now for almost 20 years. I do medium work. We do large events, a lot of fundraisers. We just got done doing a fundraiser for the American vets, where we raised enough money to ship a couple of the guys to Washington to see the monuments. These are for the veterans. But yeah, we do a little bit of everything. Large group events. I do in person. You can find us in several books. When I say us, a lot of it has to do with my wife too. But we're in a book called Great American Ghost Hunters with Dan Asfar. But yeah, pretty much all over the place. And again, tonight's a little bit different. From what I hear, you guys are interested a little bit in connecting to some of the people that have passed, especially in the wrestling world. And it seems like lately the wrestling world is really taking its beating, especially today. The news of Mr. Wyatt there, the young guy. And by the way, no, I'm not connecting with him. He's just got there. But God bless him and his family. It's funny. Earlier in the evening, you were mentioning some of the older wrestlers. And I've dealt with actually a few of them. I did bring through a couple of them on occasion for one gentleman. So, by the way, you guys got any questions, feel free to ask. I know you're, by the way, I lost. There you go. Split screen's back. I appreciate that. I like looking at you guys. For some weird reason.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Actually, you said something interesting, Gary. You said that, oh boy, how do I say this the right way? You said that Braid just got there, so you're not connecting. Does this apply when somebody passes over, that there's a certain amount of time that we measure where you can communicate to the dead?
By the way, that's a perfect question. It seems like it's almost like getting used to any new place. It's almost like you just don't pop there. You're changing dimensional planes.
Okay.
We're here in one form. We're in a physical form. When you pass, your energy changes, and it's almost like your consciousness goes with you.
Right.
and you kind of check it out. And by the way, you go to where you're comfortable. You know, I guess if you want to call it, if there is a heaven basically is that place where, you know, it's that really nice day and everything's pretty cool, and it's that memory that you've had. Who knows? Maybe you'll be back in Florida on that beach. You know, I mean, it's all those perfect moments. So even in the wrestling world, and it's kind of funny, you mentioned Terry Funk. It doesn't necessarily mean he's in the ring on the other side. There was so much to that guy on the personal level. You know, when you said he was a gentleman and he was this really wonderful guy, not to mention he'd be reconnecting with his dad and the rest of the family. So it's not just that one part.
Right.
You know, so everybody thinks like, oh, you go over there and you're kind of by yourself, but you're with everybody else, you know.
Does a person who's deceased always go to a happy memory, or is it possible that the dead go to a place that they don't even recognize? Have you found that in your connections?
From what I've connected with, it's almost like when you get there, you kind of have to go over I'll use the term, the good and the bad.
Okay.
You're going to spend a little bit of time reviewing what you did.
Okay.
I'm kind of chuckling because I was just thinking about what we were talking about before.
Right.
You know, it's almost like you have to review it, and you review it basically not on your opinion, but kind of like how the events really were. So you don't get the whitewashed version. Most of us can agree to it, and at some point I think we get past that and move on to that happy place where, you know, everybody seems pretty cool. But there are people that get stuck there for a while because it's almost like they can't give it up, so to speak. And that's kind of how it really works. You know, at least in my, and by the way, there are no real experts on it because in order to be an expert on the other side, you'd have to be dead. So
that's logical. I hate to throw Mr. Spock into this, but that's quite logical. How do you realize that how old were you when you started to realize, wait a minute, there's things I can do that no one seems to think is normal?
I was fairly young, but the thing is, you don't want to be the weird guy. I mean, let's face it, you don't want to go to school and go like, hey, I see dead people. And not to mention, I'm a bit older than you are. So back then, they basically were kind of frowned on people walking around seeing dead people. Then along came cable TV, and there was 100 different channels with mediums, and all of these people were, you know, like everywhere. And then I ended up in radio. And pretty soon, it's kind of like the genie was out of the bottle. But yeah, I started fairly young with it.
But Gary, as a young man, I'm assuming, let's call it 8, 9 years old, are you scared realizing you have these special skills?
No, because they're not special if you have them. You know, it's like one of those things. If you have something, and by the way, dead people are not scary. Living people scare the shit out of me.
I can go with this. I can go with this. I get it. So it was perfectly normal to you. You weren't thinking to yourself, like, you know, wow, I'm different. It was just like taking a swing in the batting cage in Little League.
Yeah, same idea. You know, I mean,
all right.
Or I had a vivid imagination. You know, the old, like, oh, he has a special friend. Of course, nowadays, a special friend has different meaning. But, you know.
We're not going to communicate with that, are we? Sorry. Jeez.
So, by the way, I got to tell you, we do, like I said, a lot of events. And one night, my wife and I were doing an event. There was a charity thing for the Elks, and we had about 100 people in for a dinner show. And I'm in the middle of the show, and about halfway through, I usually take a break. So I'm walking to the men's room, and there's a guy walking with me, and he says, you know, he said, I came here because my wife told me I could play golf tomorrow if I came to this show. And he says, you're really not that funny. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, she told me it was a comedy show. I said, no. I'm not a comedian. I'm a medium. I talk to dead people. He says, oh, in that case, you're actually pretty good. So it's like...
Gary, when you see the deceased, do you see, like, so let's just play this game. Jimmy's dead. He dies in a plane crash going to Florida.
Always me.
Do you see Jimmy at age 56, Or do you see Jimmy at age
55, because I'm not 56.
Oh,
Do you
whatever.
see me at 55?
or 17 or 10?
Oh, wow. Great question.
Look,
How old
Jimmy
am I?
could come to at 30 if he wanted to, but the thing is, for the family and the friends, they wouldn't recognize that. So let's say grandma dies at 95. But when grandma was 30, grandma was hot. Well, if she came through looking hot at 30, you're not going to know who she is. So grandma's going to come.
That's true. Who's that hot
You know,
ghost?
she's going to come in and,
got you.
oh, you want some babka? And, the whole bit. So it's like, well, you know what I mean?
ghost
She's not
is
going to come
mint.
through looking like, hey, I had a lady that came through talking about like, hey, she had great legs. And the kids are looking at me going like, well, what do you mean? She said, well, she's saying the girl says, my mom always said she had great legs. She had chicken legs. So this is how it works, know. Look, the reason the hat's on basically is I don't have a lot of hair, and if I came through in my 30s, I had the ponytail, long hair, the whole bit, and if my kids went to see a medium and they said, "Oh, your dad's coming through and he's got these long locks," I'd tell them to ask for their money back. It's like it's how it works.
Wow.
Interesting.
So people tend to, once that's over, once the medium part and everybody's connected, I think you can pretty much go back to any phase that you'd like. That's more for us than it is for anything else. And by the way, if you're ever wondering, is there concrete proof to what I do sometimes? I had a lady that came to see us and her husband passed away. She was from Massachusetts, and the gentleman passed away. He owned a machine shop and he was very good at business, but he was horrible at organization. So he came through and his message was, there's 10 grand in an envelope, and when you find it, think Vegas, baby. And the woman's like said, we went through the office, there's nothing there. And he got like really irritated. I'm telling her this. I said, look, he says, there's 10 grand in an envelope, Vegas, baby. And she went home 2 days later. We get a phone call. My sister just ordered 2 tickets to Vegas. We found the envelope. There was $9,470 in it.
Wow.
So needless to say, she liked me a lot. Okay.
I would think so. She's probably going to be asking you
Well,
for
that
the
doesn't
lotto
always happen,
next
you
week.
know.
The lotto numbers next week. She's going to want to know those. So
I can give you
ready.
I'll give you the daily. Okay.
I'll take it.
well, Mike,
I'll give you the phone
you better
number.
watch it. You're going to have to block his phone number. He's going to be calling you every 2 seconds. Okay, here we
If you
go.
got
This is
if you've got a daily like the phone number in New York, I'll give you a 9715.
you got that?
It's too late now. I can't play it.
Oh, never mind.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Wait, play it tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's hope it doesn't come out today.
It won't come out today. Give it a week. Play it
All
for
right.
a week.
9715. Now I'm in.
All right,
I
here
did
we
that
go.
on a Boston radio station, and the number actually hit, and the guy called up the next month mad at me. I said, why are you mad? He said, well, when you gave the number, it hit, but 4,000 other people played it the same day. I only got $50.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
well.
Wow.
Yeah, there's poverty
Anyway.
in numbers,
Wow.
unfortunately.
So, yeah, it's an interesting subject. It's kind of funny, but on television, there's like 100 ghost shows out there,
Right.
and they're all interesting and they're all fun, and but think of it this way: I die. I'm in an institution for 75 years. I die there, and these cats come along and they go, "We're looking for people." If I'm dead and I don't have to be in that institution, why would I be there?
Right.
My spirit's out of there. Boom.
Right.
I'm in Vegas, I'm in Florida, I'm someplace good. I'm not hanging around this moldy old institution or prison.
But there's
So, this is
but do
why
sometimes
they go,
some
"We're not
spirits
finding
stay,
much."
Gary.
Why would
and
you?
Gary, I'm sorry. In a
was that?
place like that, like an abandoned, because Long Island's full of them. The abandoned institutions. Do some stay and don't want to leave because they're still angry? Is there anything to that? Because some of these buildings I've been in, I do feel stuff. Is that my imagination? It doesn't feel like that.
No, it's not your imagination, but what you're feeling is a residue or an energy that's left.
Okay.
It's not an actual consciousness.
Okay.
It kind of creates its own thing, so to speak.
All right.
Is it a conscious being that's like in there going like, oh no, it's like if you go to Gettysburg, it's almost like a loop. Something happened that was so horrendous or so energetic that the loop stays in that place. So it
Right.
just keeps going over and
Is
over
this
and over
is this
again in the
almost like a
pattern.
spiritual vapor trail or something?
The vapor trail would be a good way to put it. Yeah,
Wow,
it's like,
that's pretty wild.
and I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Because it's leaving that residue or vapor there, and
Right.
it may not even know you're there. It's just
Right.
doing the same thing every night. But
Wow.
again, it's that memory or the imprint that stays there.
Okay.
So that's
All right.
kind of how it works.
Here's another difficult question for me. I'm formerly an elder in a church, and I remember many times, either the priest or the members of the congregation really upset with the idea of a medium. Can you tell me, if you were to sit in front of these people, a way to convince them that it's not evil, the gift that you've been given, and maybe find a way to explain to them why it's real and to not be afraid of the other side? Can you help me with that?
It's
Because I
very
heard I took a lot
interesting.
of heat.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I have people that have come to see me, and they are very religious. And by the
Okay.
way, I don't discount anything or any religion. I don't
Sure.
care if you're Christian,
Sure.
Buddhist, Baha'i, whatever.
Right.
I think it's all beautiful, and I think that people can follow a religion. I've actually sent people back to their religions, you know. And ultimately, if I had something to tell these people, if I could give someone a gift to get them on the track to help them find a way to get closure. And by the way, a medium's not going to get you closure. A lot of times I'll tell people, you really need to see a support group. You really need to talk to family. You really need to, join a group, get into counseling, get something done. But I try to convince them that it's a step. That's all. And look, you can point out 100 passages in the Bible,
Right.
and I can counter 100 times, but it's almost futile. So the other thing is, I think, honestly, if you believe the fact that there is something on the other side, why wouldn't you be able to connect with it? Why wouldn't
Right.
you be able to give your family that moment of solace that, like, hey, I'm here and it's cool? So,
Sure.
yeah, I wouldn't fight with organized religion by any means. And by the way, these people have the right not to believe too, and I'm okay with that.
Of course. Of
You
course.
know,
Agreed.
that,
Agreed.
that's perfectly cool.
Gary,
Yes.
Well said.
well said, Gary.
Well said.
By the way,
Thank you.
totally blown away right now. Incredible.
Yep. Yep.
You have moments with these people sharing your wonderful gift. Can you share with the fans out there a moment where you feel like you might have changed someone's life with your guidance?
I had a lady that came to see me, and her daughter had died in a really kind of a horrendous traffic accident not too far from her house. I didn't, by the way, you don't know exactly what you're bringing to somebody when you bring it. The daughter was early 20s, passed away, and it kind of changed her entire life. The message was very simple. It was one of those, like, she came through. By the way, I read what they call cold. In other words, when someone comes to see me, I don't want to know who you are. We don't even ask your last name. Don't want to know. This lady's sitting in front of me, and I'm talking about, I didn't even know the daughter's name. I just knew she was a young girl. I knew she passed in this really horrific accident. And she came through to tell mom, A, is I'm okay. And then B, is you're going to get a message from me. And this is several years ago when people were just starting to text. Back then, nobody really knew what texting was, hardly. I'm from the Stone Age, okay? So this lady had her phone, and all of a sudden she gets a text message, and it came from the daughter's Verizon number. So she called Verizon and said, look, somebody must be messing around or whatever. And they said, we're sorry, but that phone is disconnected and is no longer in service. But she got the message from her daughter after I told her the message was coming. By the way, she went on to write a book and start a group to help other parents that have lost adult children. So I don't know. I think that's pretty nice. From what I did, she went on and started a group to help other people. So for me, that feels pretty good.
It should. It should.
Unbelievable.
Have you ever
Unbelievable.
gone to help someone and no one's there?
Absolutely.
How awkward is that for
By
you
the way,
when
that
happens?
could be the person on the other side. Maybe they're not ready. It could be the person here that maybe they could have a block. It's kind of interesting. I do this for a living, and we never ask for payment till the reading is done, and there's a reason.
Okay.
I'm not going to take payment up front, sit there and go, I think your mother's here. Yeah, it's really nice, but,
Right.
the deal of it is if I do not connect, you take your money, you go out to dinner with it, you do whatever, okay? That's how it works. Even at the end of the reading, if you're not happy with what happened, take your money, go, And by the way, that works in a twofold. It's good for the person I'm reading for because, I'm not scamming them. And then on the flip side, it's good for me. It takes the pressure off. If I can't connect, no harm done. Take your money and, do something good. So yeah, that's how it should work. Okay. And by the way, for any of your listeners out there, if you go to see a medium, psychic, or whatever, if they have what's called a hook, and I'll explain the hook. Let's say you come to see me and I start to connect to something, but I don't finish. If you come back, I can tell you more for another $100 or whatever.
Oh boy.
Tell them to stuff it. Okay. There's no hook.
Right.
When you're done, you're done. And by the way, it doesn't last that long. A medium session, I can usually go for about an hour max. And after that, in the movies, they always say, oh, the spirits are pulling back. What happens is you get burnt out. After an hour of being connected with something, you just can't go anymore.
What is the physical toll?
That's how it really works.
What does it feel like? Is it draining? What are your symptoms when you're going through this? Are you physically exhausted? I mean, what does your head hurt? I mean, what happens physically to you when you're doing this?
When I'm really connected, I don't even notice anything. Like unless the house is burning down. If I'm really in the middle of it,
Okay.
I'll use the term, I'm out there. Okay. I've actually changed levels. My attention span is to where I'm at. It's almost like having this really vivid daydream.
Okay.
Like, wow, I'm really picking this up. And by the way, it's not a hazy picture of somebody. When I'm seeing them, I'm seeing them. Okay. They're like standing there, and I'm also seeing the background, so if somebody's in their kitchen and they got a chrome toaster, I'm seeing them, the toaster, the house, the whole bit, so it's not like I'm just seeing the one piece. It's funny because this is a wrestling show. I have a dear friend of mine. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, you remember Damian Sandow?
Oh,
We
sure.
do. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, now he's Aaron Stevens. He's with the NWA.
Yes.
And Aaron and I have been friends for a long time. And he came to see me one day, and we were chatting. And lo and behold, the person I thought was the most fun on the planet to come through was Rowdy Piper. Rowdy
man.
Piper.
Oh boy.
And he had
Whoa, are you
advice for
kidding?
Aaron, which I thought was a riot back then.
What was it?
So, it's kind of funny. Here we are sitting here. And all of a sudden, I'm chatting with Aaron. And matter of fact, he reminded me one day of that. He said, I remember the time when we were talking and you were talking about Rowdy Piper. So it's kind of funny that the medium stuff and the wrestling world does intermingle on occasion.
You can see
I actually
why.
had the pleasure of reading for Billy Corrigan a little while ago.
Unbelievable. By the way, to everybody out there, we are speaking to the world-renowned psychic, medium, entertainer, Gary McKinstry. You could go to his website, GaryMcKinstry.com, where he's taking bookings, and you get to see this wonderful gentleman. Gary, let's take a
Yes.
shot. What do we do? Are we just going to try to reach somebody? Do I give you a name? How do we go about this?
If you want to, by the way, are we looking for a wrestling person or are we looking for a person?
We're looking for a wrestling person, being that's a wrestling show. We do have many friends within the industry. Some have passed. Some have passed recently in the past couple of months.
Right.
And we thought maybe, hopefully, you could maybe channel one or two.
Well, it's funny because Terry Funk, I understand. Again, I know, but he's a major celebrity. I'm picking up somebody that was almost forgotten. I feel like I'm picking up like the guy. I keep picking up like almost made it guy. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but I keep feeling like I almost made it. I almost made it. I almost made it. And by the way, it feels like a sudden passing. Like boom, I was gone really quick. Didn't get a chance to finish things. Not a major celebrity though. I mean, he's up there, but he's not like the guy who's, you know. I just know I keep feeling like I'm very unfinished. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Didn't get the notoriety. Didn't get what I'm supposed to get. And you know how like right now, if you pass, it's on Instagram. It's here. It's there. It's everywhere. I almost feel like I'm picking up the forgotten wrestler. I'm not sure where this comes in, but it's connected to one of you guys. So I don't know if you understand what I'm getting at, but
Yeah, we do, Gary.
Actually,
Absolutely.
I figured you would.
yeah.
And by the way, it felt like it's a shame that he never got the notoriety. Maybe it was his management. I don't know. But this guy didn't get where he needed to be. And it just felt kind of like, and by the way, seems like he would be aware of you. You're aware of him, but this feels like he's aware of you, which is kind of funky. I like that part. And by the way, also the lady wrestler, got a really interesting woman that's coming through. She looks almost like she should be like the movie star. I got the dark-haired female. Feels like she passed in her prime. By the way, almost an upper respiratory issue with her. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give her probably about an 8. This is like a really good-looking lady. And it feels kind of like the wrestling world turned their back on her when they were done. Almost, it's funny, when people come through, they usually come through, like I said, in their happy place. This lady doesn't feel so happy. Almost like irritated with people. You know who I don't want to be when I pass is Vince McMahon.
Why do you say that?
I think he's got some wrestlers that want to talk to him on the other side.
Oh, Jesus. Is there
Sorry.
No,
are there arguments on the other side, like unfinished business?
Oh, sure. Well, what if you, like I said, about the young guy, the younger male, the person that passed and never quite made it? It feels kind of like he's still lamenting the fact he never quite got there. Like, the old "I should have been a contender."
Yeah. Is there any
Feels
chance
like I had my hand on the belt, but I never got it.
this wrestler that you feel knows us, is there any chance he might be trying to tell us anything? Like us personally, like me and Mike, or?
Yeah, I'm supposed to say thank you. You got that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because you guys are like, look, it's not that everybody's the underdog, but you guys could recognize the fact that he was the underdog and shouldn't have been. And he wanted to thank you both, okay? So, he's coming through loud and clear. Little attitude, by the way. Like sometimes in that world, you need that little bit of attitude.
Perfect. All right,
Wow.
Mike. Keep it down up there, Mike.
Wow.
What on
So
earth?
you got all that?
Yeah, completely.
Hey, maybe I found a new gig. I'm going to become the wrestling medium.
I think it's working pretty
Tony
well.
Khan will be on my
Holy
phone.
cow.
Oh boy.
Uh,
So can
you
name-
remember
do you
China,
want-
right?
Sure, sure.
That's who I was thinking was the dark haired
That's what
female.
I'm picking up.
Yeah.
She's coming through looking like Xena on, the old TV show there.
Right.
Right. That's probably when she was coming
By the
out
way,
all
she
dolled
seems
up at
rather
the end.
irritated about being passed. Not everything went the way it was supposed to. And it's kind of like for a major star, she was forgotten too quickly. which is kind of sad, There's a lot of wonderful people. You know who I want to connect to? Is Killer Kowalski.
Why's that?
You talk about the old days.
Yeah.
That's the one guy, but I can't really understand him when I've tried to connect. His speech pattern is kind of funky.
Okay.
It's like the dude's all over the place.
Is it easier for you to communicate with the other side when you're in their room, their personal room, when a family calls you in and you're in their immediate surroundings compared to what you just did just now? You just pulled a friend of ours who's gone. He's not in the room with you. You're not in the room with us. Is it easier for you to get through to the other side when you're around their physical memories, their room, their car, whatever it was?
Well, it is a little easier when it's up close and personal. If I'm sitting 5 feet from somebody, because theoretically, I'm not bringing that person in. The person I'm reading for is bringing them in. It's kind of like you guys brought them in. It's almost like I'm the receiver, the tuner, so to speak.
Right.
You're
Gary,
the antenna, I'm the tuner.
So
I'm bringing them in, and my job is to just report what I'm hearing or seeing.
In other words, are you saying that Mike and I, we're almost conductors for his spirit to? It's wild.
Yeah.
I got it.
No offense, but if I wasn't talking to you guys right now, I could be like watching America's Got Talent or something, and I'm not going to be sitting here bringing in. Well, sorry.
You mean you actually concentrate when you're watching something? You don't have the dead bothering you in the middle of the whole show.
That's kind of the deal, I mean,
you have an off
people
switch.
People that ask me like, "Well, what do you do, to block this out?" I usually watch like an Adam Sandler movie. Okay,
that's great. Oh my God.
I'm not going to be watching some creepy show.
Right.
Right. Can you imagine like walking through a Walmart and having like 50 dead people try to talk to you? That would not be cool.
No, it wouldn't. It would not.
Cool.
Not walking through Walmart's bad enough, but now I got 50 dead people. So this is kind of like this.
So
this is
how are you able
want to do it?
How are you able to discipline this sort of thing? Do you have an on and off switch that you've mastered?
I do.
Question. You do.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it hard to master it?
Someone sneaks in.
Was it hard to master it? Was this something you had to deal with over the years till you had the program nailed?
Basically, yeah, there is like an on and off. And by the way, it's gotten to the point where it's an instant on. Like when someone sits down and boom, I'm not going to be spending 20 minutes preparing myself or,
right.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to be sitting there going, I mean, it's nice, but, I'm jumping right in and bam, here it comes. And I'm all of a sudden, I'll use the term, you feel the magic. It's like it's coming in and you let it rip. By the way, for any would-be mediums out there, I'll give them the one major piece of advice, and it's not to be afraid to say something. Probably the most detrimental thing is no matter how crazy it is, if you're seeing it, you're hearing it, and you're feeling it, there's a good chance it's on the money.
Right.
I've had some pretty crazy stuff come through, and, I'm thinking to myself, am I really going to say this? And if I don't, there's a great chance that people are going to. I actually had somebody one time to say to me, I thought you were going to tell me this. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, I could see that. But if I say it now, I'm going to look like a schmuck, like, like, oh, you just told me that, like dad was in prison for 10 years. And yeah, so that's how it works. Okay. Wow. And just to let you know, clientele is varied. I've had everybody from, professional wrestlers to music people to unemployed people. I had a Vietnamese gangbanger as a client. Everybody none of us are immune to this. So people pass, things happen, and, next thing you know, somebody's gone. So this is kind of how it works. It touches us all, And the worst part is, right now I'm seeing Andre the Giant in tights. Do you really want to have that as a visual in your mind?
No, not really. What year is it?
If it's at the end of Bride, the movie?
It's at the end of his career, you're really in trouble. But that's sorry. Sorry,
Yeah,
Andre.
I'm seeing him. I'm seeing him in like The Princess Bride, and then when he was playing Bigfoot on $6 Million Man.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing him in the ring so much. I'm seeing him in what he thought was his heyday, which was his acting and film career.
Okay. He's at the height of his fame, one way or the other.
By the way, the man was funny,
He was hilarious.
was
Go
the
ahead,
greatest.
say it. The peanut thing.
Someone got a peanut?
This guy with the
Yeah.
Princess Bride. This is unbelievable.
So
That's
I'm
great.
talking to you to it for some crazy reason. I got Andre the Giant coming through and looking a little more like the Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah.
right now.
Well, I saw him when I was 12. I looked up at him. He was the Jolly Green Giant. Gary, are you
yeah.
able to call upon, okay, this must be really some sort of gift to have. Let's say someone you looked up to. Like, for example, for me, John Lennon. John Lennon passes away. Are you able to reach out to your heroes when they pass on and go, hey, what's going on?
To a point, it usually takes someone connected to them.
Okay.
I had a
need a
lady that
conduit.
came to see me, and she said, "I'm the #1 Elvis fan, and I want to talk to Elvis." And I said, "Look, you're not Priscilla. You weren't related to him. You're not a cousin. He didn't even know you. You're just this lady with a million record collection and posters everywhere." In a nice way, I had to tell her, like, "Look, I tend to think Elvis is busy, So it's tough. If you were connected somehow to that person, there's a good chance.
Right.
But it's just like in life, Look, I was a big fan of Nikolai Tesla. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tesla.
Yeah.
I even went to the New Yorker hotel to see his suite where he lived before he died. But for some reason, I couldn't connect as much as I wanted to. That's a guy that I always thought would be like so fascinating to talk to. So no, I can't always connect just because I want to.
Right.
There's got to be something. There's got to be almost a reason to connect.
Well, Gary, can I just attempt to reach out to somebody that has passed on? I'll give you a name and we'll try. All right.
Yep.
Evan Ginsberg.
I mean, he looks like he's passed on.
Oh, he's not dead?
I don't
No.
know.
Oh,
he's
I'm
not.
sorry, Gary.
How did you know
I'm
right
sorry.
away? You sure he's not
No,
halfway?
I honestly, I do pick up living people sometimes too, and he's laughing like hell right now.
Is he? I got a feeling he's shaking his fist and getting mad about his large nose, but that's a whole nother story.
No, he's actually laughing. By the way, he reminds me of a Seinfeld episode.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he
a
is.
bad one. Yeah.
It's a surreal Seinfeld episode.
Yeah, absolutely. It was surreal. I was suddenly sensing myself. That's great.
Oh,
That's unbelievable. I don't feel good. Oy.
Gary,
Anyway.
again, for people out there,
He's great.
where can they reach out to you? Where website, upcoming shows?
Thank you. GaryMcKinstry.com. I also do Zoom readings and in-person readings. Right now I'm promoting a show we're doing in Massachusetts at the place called the Public House in Sturbridge, Mass. That's going to be in October. You can get tickets on Eventbrite there. Phone number, and God, I don't know if I should give this in the New York area.
That's
It's
great.
207-527-2067. We do come down to Massachusetts once a month. We leave Maine here, but so if people want to get a hold of us, please do. We also have an events listing page on the website, and it'll tell everybody where we are.
Excellent.
Okay.
And I want to say special thanks to Phil DeCesare for introducing
Thank you,
me
Phil.
to you.
Yes.
He's a good friend of yours and a wonderful man.
He's a mutual friend. Yeah, Phil is great.
He is.
Agreed.
Gary, I want to
by the
thank
way-
you. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to put in a quick plug for my buddy Aaron. They're going to have this great 75th anniversary match with Vampiro, I guess it is.
Vampiro. Gotcha. Yep.
So it'll be Aaron and Vampiro, and it's a tag team thing. So NWA coming up, I think probably this week or next week. So anyway,
Very good.
Let's finish
Vampiro
this
used,
up.
Vampiro
No, very
used to
good.
have a show on our network for a
Right.
couple of months, Vampiro TV, so that's good to hear.
Yep, he's out and about. He
He's
hasn't
out and
retired
about.
yet.
Very good.
Gary, thank you again for joining Long Island's #1 pro wrestler and broadcast. You were fantastic, and thank you.
Gentlemen, you're great, and have a great evening, okay?
God
Thanks,
bless.
Gary. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Alrighty.
Good
Bye-bye
night.
now.
Wow, what'd you think?
Thought it was fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Freaked out by Mike Mantor.
Definitely think it's Mike, right?
Well, it's got to be.
Gotta be.
He nailed it. And then the China thing,
The China thing freaked me out a little bit
nailed
too.
it. But the Mike Mantor thing really got all of this
Yeah.
was good. And we are conduits, according to the explanation, which makes perfect sense. And
Right.
there goes the goosebumps. What's that? Nervous energy or something?
Nervous energy.
Hello, hello.
When you hear something like
Oh,
that,
boy.
and you got that connection with Mike,
Yeah.
does it kind of relieve you about his passing?
Yeah, I think it does. How about them apples? Yeah, it felt good to know that, yeah. Wow,
It's great.
pretty much. Yeah, it is great. You know what the Pharaoh's final question was going to be if we had, who is God to Gary?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would have loved
Dude,
to
why
have
didn't you
heard-
scream at me for Pharaoh's final
Well,
question?
usually you poke me, but I usually don't poke you because I'm polite. This time I should have been rude.
Yeah, you should have been a
should
little
have been
rude.
poking you.
You should have been rude.
Yeah, you know what? We'll get him another time. though.
I wanted to respect his time.
I would be
and,
curious, though. We could have been here an hour with that question,
Oh, my
though. I
God,
mean, I would have
yeah.
loved to have heard his explanation on the other side.
To be honest with you, I thought you were going
subdivisions
to
or
ask the
everything.
basic, do you think the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl?
No.
You don't want to take that chance.
No, I don't. Well, you've already.
You don't want to know the
well,
future.
it's too. Well, no, I don't. It's just half the fun being
You know what the problem is?
disappointed.
You know what the biggest
we're
problem?
Jet
I have
fans.
no short-term memory. What was the big four number again? 9715?
You have replay. That's the good news.
Oh, you're so smart.
I'm a genius.
You are a genius.
I am a genius.
So you would not have asked the Jet question?
No, actually, I was going to ask. Who or what is God to you? Or, I think I might have trumped it with a much more important question.
Let me hear that one.
I haven't seen my sister in well over 10 years. She suddenly returns.
Right.
And then I see what I see at the beginning of the episode. So
Right.
my real deal is my sister from the other side? I was going to ask
Jimmy,
him that.
I've known you a long
I'm
time.
slightly unsettled.
And
More unsettled than your brain.
Jimmy-
but that's a whole nother
Jimmy,
story.
you sometimes you're a very mellow guy.
Sometimes
And
I
people
feel like a
watched
nut.
you on TV,
Sometimes I don't.
right? But they've never seen a full Jimmy.
No,
They
they
have
never
not
will.
seen a full Jimmy.
No,
But I will
they
tell you,
can't.
after last week's show,
Yeah,
all of a sudden I got full Jenny. And I'm like, uh-oh.
yeah,
I've seen full Jimmy.
right.
Now I've seen full Jenny.
Yeah,
And that,
yeah,
though entertaining,
right.
full
Just
Jenny.
keep in mind, my tattoos are on the inside.
Right.
See you soon, sis.
With that, you've been watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. We thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to
Thank you.
thank again Gary
Don't put her back up,
McKinstry,
Jared. I saw that.
for
You
joining
screwed
us.
up. Don't be doing that. I'll come over there and twist you into bookends.
I want to thank Gary
What?
McKinstry for joining us. Incredible.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's okay, Jared. Go ahead.
Great,
Scare the
great.
shit out of all of
Handsome,
us.
handsome gentleman,
He
too.
was fantastic.
Very handsome gentleman.
Absolutely.
All right, with that, send us on the way, buddy.
You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. Stand by to get the crap scared out of you. Go ahead, Jared. Say goodnight.